Welcome, everybody. This is 372 Pages We'll Never Get Back. I am Connor Stoker, and this is the podcast book club where Mike, Nelson, and I read books that we don't expect that we're going to like. And we have read 9 books so far, and we are ready to start our 10th. Mike, 10 books. Did you ever think it would make it to the vaunted double-digit stage?
I did not. It was it was rough going out of the gate.
Yeah,
and it's continued on that way ever since. But no, I'm happy to be here. We've had ups, we've had downs, we've had Brams, we've had Clines. It's been quite a ride.
I thought you were going to say we've had Brams, we've had Brahms. We should do one of those infographics where it's like X amount of pages read. X amount of times book thrown across room, X amount of, words mispronounced, etc.
Actual spit takes. I believe I've had a few.
Yes. Yeah. Dark web, minutes logged. But it's all going to pay off because, who knows? This could be the book that we end up reading and enjoying. You never know. I mean, well, that's not true. We've enjoyed several books, but this could be, we could find a hidden gem here.
Yeah, I was thinking about the pattern of our books. We've kind of ridden a little surf of ups and downs of kind of big names and maybe smaller names. No insult to you, Dwight David Thrash.
Right, yeah. Or Charles E. Harris. He's a big name in his community.
Sure, yeah.
Was a big name.
But I don't know how this fits in with that pattern. I think it slightly disrupts it.
Yeah. So the last book we read was a big name, but it was so old that I think it sort of fit into the it was never going to be a bestseller. And I think that maybe when this book came out, they had delusions that it might set the world on fire.
Oh, I think so. I mean, given its history, I'm trying to be very careful with my words here. We have to keep the reveal.
Yeah, we have to. I
guess I could give a few clues.
Sure, and it's undoubtedly a big name. You can't dispute that.
It is a very big name. And we've worked with this person and their material in the past.
Boy, have we!
In the recent past. This person is an actor and is also a director.
Yeah.
A director and also creates, I would say, chimeric creatures who may or may not have lipstick smeared on their teeth.
What have we done?
I can't do it. It's not.
Okay.
Right. It's not Pappy.
It's like that prank.
But everything I said is true.
Yeah. Where the parents pretend that they're eating their kids' Halloween candy and they have to make them actually cry before they reveal it.
Right.
No, we wouldn't do that.
Those parents who scare their kids too. I find that just amazing. Get your kid to scream by jumping out of a closet with a mask on and then laughing at them.
Right. Or tell them they're not going to be able to see Ninja Turtles 2 in the theater because they didn't clean their room and they burst into tears.
Yeah, boy,
Fun.
That was misplayed.
But yeah, no. So this is a bigger name. I mean, possibly the biggest name. He's one of the most well-known names in the world. But he's also a divisive figure, even amongst people who are admittedly fans of his work. He's the person people love to hate.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely true. And I think he could be the top money earner of all time in the industry in which he works.
Yeah.
I'm hard pressed to think of anyone else.
That seems likely. I mean, his creations will outlive us all. They will continue to print money, and there's a new one coming out soon. I mean, yeah, why not? We don't need to dance around it anymore. This book does have an analog in our 372 page-averse, and that would be I believe it was the third book we ever did, right?
Yeah, that was just the third. Right.
Yeah. So Tech War is the closest parallel, I think. It's got the big name, sort of lending his time, his name, his vision, and then a random dope gets roped in to sort of lay it out on the page.
Right, to expand this universe that he's created, this well-known universe that he's created.
Beloved, some might say.
Worldwide success. Yeah.
So the first author is George Lucas. Mm-hmm. And as people probably know, whether you've read him or not, he has written or authorized books to expand upon his universes, and those are, worldwide bestsellers of themselves, whether they're adaptations or novelizations or, just more of the expanded Star Wars universe.
Yes, there is canon, there's non-canonical, there are, I think, parallel universe worlds, I assume. I assume there's dozens or maybe hundreds of those.
There's an X-Wing pilot who is literally a horse in one of the comics. There's a whole world exists. People have written in to suggest some of those. There's some particularly bad Star Wars books, and we are not going to do any of those. We are going to examine another one of the Lucas cinematic universes, the Willowverse. Because when Willow came out in 1988, people were left thinking, I need to know where this story goes. And so in 1995, a mere 7 years later, George Lucas co-wrote Shadow Moon with Chris Claremont to keep this beloved story going. And so this book is called Shadow Moon, and it is it's where the Willowverse left off with the movies. And it sounds like this guy Chris Claremont he roped in to do this is very respected in if you know his name, you know it and respect it. He was a longtime X-Men writer who gave us created characters such as Rogue, Sabretooth, Gambit, Psylocke, Multiple Man, and wrote the Dark Phoenix saga, The Days of Future Past, all things that I knew when I was reading X-Men comics. Those were storylines that they would always refer to. So he's a big deal. And
I think the phrase that I most closely associate with the X-Men, I'm the best that there is at what I do, and what I do isn't very nice. Is what that classic Wolverine phrase.
Yeah, that was that rolls off the tongue. He fleshed out the big characters. He brought some of these people to life. I mean, I don't know where erotic X-Men fan art would be without Psylocke, so we have him to thank for that. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Willow. What is your experience with Willow?
Well, I saw it at the legendary Cooper Theater here in Minneapolis, or a suburb thereof. Don't get snippy with me. I know where it is. And which is Prince's favorite theater. I saw it. The Willow had a huge, 70 millimeter screen. It was known for that. Giant house. I don't remember how many seats.
Wow.
I think I'm pretty. And Ron Howard. I wanted to see the next Ron Howard movie. Mm-hmm. I think he had already had some success, and why not? And I think I slept through it pretty much. And I just remember the brownies, Kevin Pollak and Rick Overton, I think, running around with a voice filter on, doing high voices. Very annoying. I mean, take Disembodio and amp up the annoyingness.
Wow.
Those guys.
Don't wish that upon anybody. So It was Ron Howard directing, but George Lucas's vision?
I believe so.
So he was already doing that crap in before any prequel was even a twinkle in his eye.
Right. Yeah. But the thing I remember most is it was 2 hours and 4 minutes, I believe. I'm just checking it now. I remember it being enormously long for what it was. And I left thinking, boy, he's barely scratched the surface of this universe. I need more. But he said, I found this quote on the page about it. Lucas, when I wrote the story for Willow, I began with the pre-story, but the full story was yet to be told.
Man.
Repeating a pattern that this guy is going to do forever, not giving us an actual story, but promising that if we continue to watch or read for year after year, there's a story in there, I swear.
Are there more chilling words than Lucas saying, the story needs to be told further?
It's his whole way of producing stuff is kind of like when you turn the mustard upside down and the thin yellow vinegar sprays all over your hot dog bun. That's what he gives you and promises there'll be more later. So,
I have a distinct memory of my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. McCannell, did an exercise where you had to create your own word. Like you had to coin your own word as a fourth grader. And the example that she gave us that we were designed to emulate was one of her sons had came up with to describe that liquid. And she called it musquirt. And it is revolting. And I've never been able to not think of that every time I do that. Every time I forget to shake up the mustard.
Wow, your teacher had a slow day where she's making you create sniglets, isn't that?
Yes. But okay, yeah. So I don't have I do have a memory of Willow. It's not as strong as Musquirt, but I was like 7 when this came out, so I probably would have seen it on like either TV or video a couple years later. But the thing that I remembered distinctly was going to Wendy's, and they had a Willow, whatever their Happy Meal tie-in was these plastic cups. That when you poured liquid into them, like the color would change, like they would reveal something, like it probably made the skeleton's bones show up or something. And I went to look these up, and they do exist, and it turned up the Tumblr blog, fuckyeahwillow.tumblr.com. which
well, we found our resource for this one.
So it had a picture of the Happy Meal cups, and then it just had some good quotes. The first one I found out was this was unattributed, but I think I'll read it and then speculate as who the author was. Sometimes in the middle of a hectic day, I find myself stopping and just remembering that the movie Willow exists, and I think, Mad Mardigan, fuck yeah. So I think that might have been Ernest Cline musing about Willow. We get
not Harry Knowles.
It could have been. I'm sure that he is enthused. I'm sure he has written a revolting review, possibly, of a Willow re-release. But then we get this one from Warwick Davis, the star. He says, I really see Star Wars as the break, but Willow was another kind of boost along the way. The first role I'd had where I wasn't hidden behind the creature mask. And still again, another tribute to George Lucas. Again, he's created a film in Willow that has stood the test of time. So again, you see why you would need to write a whole trilogy to expand upon the Willowverse.
I can't imagine anyone returning to Willow, but has it ever come up as your family is, home for the holidays, snowstorm, guys, let's gather around the TV with popcorn and turkey sandwiches and watch Willow again?
So
it's unfathomable to me. But
yeah,
I don't know.
But so I was 8, and so you get those cups from a Happy Meal, and in your world that just means that this is a movie that is a gigantic deal and everyone's seen. But it seems like it was a middling. I guess it was number 1 at the box office the weekend it came out, and it says that Lucas hoped it would earn as much money as E.T., but it faced early competition with Big, Rambo 3, and Crocodile Dundee 2. So when you're facing off heavy hitters like that, you can see why it only made over $57 million in the box office, 110 worldwide. It was not the blockbuster hit insiders had anticipated.
Well, don't you think that if you're a Paul Hogan or Sylvester Stallone, you hope that your movies make as much as E.T. the Extraterrestrials?
Yes, right.
I assume that's kind of the hope when anyone makes a movie.
Right, exactly. Someone's, producing Transformers, and they're like, we see Shia LaBeouf as the next Harrison Ford. And it's like, sure, yeah, we all, I see this lottery ticket I just bought as being the 700 million Powerball winner.
They thought that, and the audience, the greater audience worldwide said, no.
Oh, boy. We have a Riff Tracks coming out today with Jurassic World 2 that features a guy who is very much channeling Shia LaBeouf and who does not die in the movie, to my great dismay.
And coming up, trying for Shia LaBeouf and coming up short,
right? That
is like one of those old-timey planes with 12 wings that just crashes before it gets up. You look even worse because of it.
It's like playing the the Chuck E. Cheese claw game and going for a stuffed minion and coming up with just a pile of dog poo that ended up inside the machine somehow. But so yeah, this book was recommended to us by a listener. So once again, we like to tell you who you have to blame. This person, I don't know if you can seek them out. Their name was Stellar K. That's their Gmail name. But they said, while reading Tech War, I thought about another book for this podcast, Shadow Moon by George Lucas and Chris Claremont. So I noticed the next two books, they are credited as story by George Lucas and written by Chris Claremont. So they dropped the pretense. Or maybe just George Lucas actually contributed to this one.
Well, from his quote on it, he had so much more to tell.
But she said, or he or she says, it is the first book in, of course, a trilogy since Lucas is behind it, and it came out around 1996. I purchased it when it was released because it was a sequel to the movie Willow. They do not expound upon that. But the book sat on my shelf for probably 20 years because my friend told me it was confusing and characters they had loved in Willow were completely different or immediately killed off. It also might be amusing to read something from the Star Wars creator after reading something from the Star Trek actor. And there is a discussion about a Willow movie sequel in the works, hopefully not from these books. So that would be some nice synergy.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah. I was trying to think of an analog of trying to get excited again about a film. What is it? Is it 8 years later?
Yeah. I think it's 7, yeah. 88 to 95.
Oh, okay. All right. It's time for me to expand the universe of the movie Hollow Man, or something, something just where you I haven't thought of that.
Right.
I literally haven't thought of that in 5 years, and now you're coming up with it.
Right. Ever wonder what Corky Romano kept doing after the credits rolled? Well,
I was only telling you the pre-story of Corky Romano.
So yeah, I'm always frustrated by there's no reliable box office or records are certified platinum. It doesn't seem to be able to find those numbers for these books, but based on the availability of $2 used copies on Amazon, this seems like this was a one that they offloaded the copies pretty quickly.
And do we have an ebook for this? Are we going to be able to read it? That's very important for me.
Yes.
As someone who, great.
Yeah, don't fear. So the process of ordering these books from used book guy, 187 on Amazon is I've already ordered 3 of these because the first one didn't send them and canceled. I have another one coming to you that is still in the pre-processing way, so we'll see what has to happen with that. But we can get started reading the ebook quicker.
I'm excited, and this just jumped out at me, considering what we've just come through, and speaking back to Pappy and his prose. This is just in the middle of a review you put on the notes here. The writing is wordy, pedantic, wordy, confusing, and wordy. Did I mention it was wordy and confusing? Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah. So that is the main review that's at the top of the page. It is a 1-star review from JS. And this is the only review they've ever written on Amazon. So that is, I think that should factor in, I think, when you're weighting these reviews, is that this person, hated this book so much that they felt the need to, have it be the only thing they've ever reviewed. But let's just read some more of it. This book was co-authored by George Lucas and Chris Claremont, so I'm not really sure who to blame more for this hot mess of a story. But either way, I'm seriously disappointed. I only made it to page 121 before I finally gave up on it. So we should circle that page when we get our copies and see sort of if there's something there that led them to throw it out the window, or if that was just a point of exhaustion.
Yeah, I've had as much as I can take, and I can't take no more, I assume. Yes.
They wanted so much to like this book. I'm a huge fan of the movie Willow, and I had known about the book trilogy for some time. So when I finally got around to ordering book 1, I couldn't wait to tear into it. I was so looking forward to letting my imagination run wild with more exciting adventures of the characters I'd met in Willow. I can't think of a sadder sentence. Unfortunately, this book was like a slap in the face to anyone who loved this movie. So yeah, it's I pulled a couple other reviews, but that seems to be a common sentiment, is if you loved Willow, this is going to be a great disappointment. So we might have to revisit the movie ourselves to sort of learn, why people were so upset.
Do you consider when you watch a movie that you're meeting the characters? That seems a little lofty. Like when I so loved the characters I met in Corky Romano. I saw Willow. I didn't meet characters.
Yeah, you ran into him in a hotel lobby, and you told him you loved his work and took a selfie with Corky Romano, and people commented on it. Hey, I met him too one time.
This just keeps coming up. I'm learning right now. This movie, again, that I have never thought of, never, seen a DVD on eBay or something, or a Blu-ray that's supposed to be good and gone, I should put that in the old library. It's just never come up that it has a beloved a fan base that find it to be one of the best movies of the 80s, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think, pretty much if there's anything from the 80s, it's going to be someone's beloved, the movie that defined their childhood, I guess, so... are we certain it wasn't mentioned in Cline's book? I mean, geez. I guess we'll have to look. We'll look up and get back to that. But I mean, it seems like there has to be some sort of mention.
We know he didn't play it with what was it? What was the game of just recreating a movie?
A flick sync.
Flick sync. We would have remembered a flick sync, but it seems like it should have got a mention.
I'll do a quick thing right now. I was trying to look up.
Do it live.
I was trying to look up how much erotic fan art of Willow existed. You
didn't.
Well, I mean, that's the true indication of how much it has, resonated with an audience. That as a creator, that's how you really have to justify.
So one of the tabs on your computer now has an erotic drawing of Warwick Davis. Is that what you're telling me?
No, there's some other character named Willow, unfortunately.
Okay.
That was the main thing that turned up. Let's see.
Wait, now is Warwick Davis, is he Willow?
I believe so. And this is something that resonated in
Willow
other
Ulfgood, yeah, sorry.
In other people. They objected that his character's names change in the beginning of the book, so that is another reason we probably need to revisit the movie, because I guess Willow starts being not called Willow, whether that's a copyright dodge or something like that. We'll have to investigate, but I think someone said his name changes in the first 20 pages of the book.
Oh, well, that sends off some real alarm bells.
A retrofitted Willow book or something like that. No Willow mentions in Ready Player One.
Shakespeare wrote Macbeth 2, and the character's not named Macbeth.
So yeah,
it's a prequel, obviously.
No Cline mentions, no erotic fan art. So yeah, I'm not sure how much this book really resonated.
And what is the Mad Mardigan I see come up? I assumed it was one of the brownies, but that's not true.
No, that's Val Kilmer's character.
Okay, and what was he like the kind of the rogue helping him, the scoundrel who with a heart of gold?
I think that's got to be the trope he fulfills. Yeah, that was another. I remembered that name growing up just because it stood out to me, and I wondered why it was such a weird name. But yeah, I think he gets turned into a pig. That's another memorable moment of the movie.
And how soon after he was snapping his teeth in a locker room was this?
I mean, Top Gun was probably 86, right?
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, that's what you take that box office capital, and this is what you translate it into.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, I think of all the, it'll be fun to read something that's not a novelization of a movie, but something that's more of an exploration.
Wait a minute, let me hedge my bets on being excited. How long is this book?
Oh boy.
Did you look it up?
I did not look it up. You were the one who said, let's do this one.
Hey. Whoa, quick turnaround on that. I'm merely exploring. Suddenly there's finger pointing.
Well, I sent you a big list, and this is the one that you're like, this jumps to the top of my list. 464 pages. But I think it's like a trade paper. It's like a beach read book. It's like you'd find it at a, in a beach house, and it's one of those type of books. So I think it's like Tech War was. It was that sort of small book. So I don't think the pages are going to be, real book pages.
Right. It's the second and third one where he really expands the universe. He's still on book one. He's still pre-story.
If it comes as one of those books like Dwight David Thrash or the way that White Worm was written, oh my, we will then have to rescind this very quickly.
Yeah, it's like a typewriter paper that has been barely glued together.
Since we do not have the books in our hand, it will be hard to give an assignment, but we will post that as soon as we know. But run out and raid the weird used booksellers on Amazon or the ebooks or whatever you've got. The audio book, I don't know who reads that one. That'll be a fun one if anyone wants to.
Wait, there is an audiobook?
Listed as an audio cassette, like they used to be able to get from the library. So if anyone ends up listening to it that way, please let us know how the audio cassette version works and how you have a functioning cassette player in your home.
And also we have yet to explore that world of amateur audiobook reading.
Oh, right.
Which I only learned about. Of course, I should have known it existed, but for Lair of the White Worm, didn't you say there was a bunch of them?
Yeah, you could just public domain it, and people can go, and I guess there's competing Bram Stoker performers.
Wow.
This one is performed by Renee Auberjonois.
Oh, yeah. The guy from... I think he was on the sitcom Benson, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. That then comes up right away.
He was in the Star Wars. No, sorry, I'm going to get in so much trouble. Star Trek universe, I believe.
Wow. Okay, yeah, he looks like he could
met
be
him
a.
Once. He was in his makeup on set, and we walked through the Star Trek area of the studio. And
wow.
He was very welcoming. He seemed like a very nice guy. In the 3 to 4 minutes I was with him.
I'm picturing, the what he must have looked like as a character. Was he the guy with like the ears? Oh no, he's not.
I think he's one of those where he has, just a few appliques pressed here and there about his skull, and therefore, he didn't have to do the 8-hour chair sit at 4 a.m. before the rest of the cast. He had that much clout.
The fact that I looked at him and immediately thought he must have played the guy with the big forehead, butt, and the ears. I apologize. So if anyone listens to his narration, that'll be fun as well. I don't know. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. Just say that page count again, if you would, please.
464.
All righty.
And we bought the mass market paperback because it was cheaper. So I think that's probably where you're seeing that page count come from. So we will see.
So this is the kind of paper stock where if you are, reading Willow in the tub with candles about you and light classical music playing, and then you drop it in the tub, the paper immediately disintegrates, and you have to buy another copy of Willow.
Yes, or like the Norton anthology we had in college, where the paper was like just thin enough that someone was like, you can rip the pages out of that and use them to roll joints with. I was like, what? Where did this get passed around to you? Like, this is utterly insane. But yeah, it's going to be that thin.
Very tough to find rolling paper. So,
Yes, right. You might as well rip up the $60 compendium of the Western canon.
We also don't have any empty cans, nor do we have an apple. So we're stuck, guys. We're stuck.
All right, yeah. So on that note, let's run out and add all these. Add Shadow Moon to the list of customers who also bought the pole vault championship of the entire universe and John Hodgman's medallion status. Just crap up those recommendation pages further.
Yes, and I'm also certain that we're going to find that Shadow Moon is a song by a prog rock group from somewhere between 1977 and 1995.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be Shadow Moon and then Roman numerals up to 5 for like the middle part of the album.
Right.
God.
All right. Well, get by and get reading, everyone, and we'll get these episodes going.
Sounds good.
This is 372 pages. We'll never get back.